Understanding Facebook Ads Manager 2025. This is my most popular video every year, so I'm excited to bring you the updated version. We are going to go through Ads Manager, and I'm going to explain all of the major functionality. Not every single button, but basically all of them that you're going to be using at least 90% of the time. You will understand what the buttons mean, where to go to change your settings, to change your pixel. If you are ever confused by Facebook Ads Manager, you will not be by the end of this video. So we're going to get started right away here. Before we get too into it though, if you could use extra help, be sure to book a free call with me below for done with you or done for you Facebook ad services. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So when you are in Ads Manager, basically everything that you're going to be doing is going to take place between Ads Manager at the campaigns level. You're pretty much never going to use account overview for anything. Audiences you might use for creating some audiences. Billing, obviously you're going to set that up at the beginning, otherwise you're probably never going to use it again. And then Events Manager does get used quite a bit, and then Business Settings also does get used quite a bit. So basically everything is between campaigns, Events Manager, and Business Settings. Events Manager is for your pixel and or data set. So the first thing you need to know is that a data set is the version 2 of a pixel. Pixel is basically what everyone still calls it because it had been that for, I don't know, over 10 years, and then they made the upgraded version of the pixel. I really wish they did just call it a data set, but it is the same thing. It just has slightly increased measurability for tracking. So data set is what you are going to make. And as far as how to set that up, there are plenty of videos. I do have videos as well on my channel for how to do that. But you are likely going to want to do the partner integration in most cases. And how most of these partner integrations are done is by starting the integration on the app rather than Facebook. So if you have Shopify, like most of you do, get the Facebook and Instagram app on Shopify and then create your data set that way. That is the best way to do it because you don't want to just put your data set and or pixel code on your website because that won't track nearly as much as doing an API integration. An API integration is where the two platforms are connected and you're not going to miss probably like any sales, like maybe like less than 5% of sales don't get tracked, but you're going to capture basically all of them as long as you do an API integration. So if you have WordPress, you're going to want to get the Facebook and Instagram app. If you have Shopify, you're going to want to get the Facebook and Instagram app and connect it that way. You're not going to make a data set in here. It is rarely the best way to do it. Now, for those of you that are using like a landing page builder, maybe you're using Go High Level, or maybe the platform you're using like Squarespace is wanting your data set ID. That is your data set ID right there, and you're just going to copy and paste that. Otherwise, you can go to Add Events, and you can go to Add New Integrations, and you can go to Metapixel, and then you can go to manually add code to your website, and then you can get that code and place that into the header of whatever you're using to track. So we're getting right into it here. Obviously, you guys are maybe confused, like why are we spending so much time in Events Manager right away? But setting up your pixel is the first thing that you need to do because your ads can't even work if Facebook can't track what happens on your website. You can run a purchase campaign or a lead campaign, but it doesn't know what happens on your website unless they have the tracking code on there. So this is going to be the first thing that you want to set up. After that, in business settings, this is going to be where you take care of if you want to add any more people. This is the best place to do it. Invite them there. You're going to make sure your Facebook page is synced. This is where you're going to create your ad account. You're going to make sure your Instagram account is synced. And then I'm also just going to show you real quick. You're going to need to then assign the assets after. So once you have added yourself in here, like you'll probably already be in there, but once you've created all of the other assets, you're going to need to go to assign assets, and then you're going to need to do things like this: Social Bamboo, agency, full control, and you're going to go through and you are going to, it's so stupid, there's no pixels under pixels, but you're going to be like, all right, data set, I want this data set, full control, and you are going to assign everything over to you. Otherwise, it won't work, okay? This is a very simple thing to do, and it's kind of ridiculous in a lot of ways, but if you are trying to run ads and you don't see your pixel having access to it, it's because you haven't assigned it to yourself yet. So this is the other thing. After you've made your pixel, you're going to go in here, you're going to add your pages, everything under accounts you're going to do. Pages, add accounts, Instagram accounts. Also under data sources, you will have the data set, because Pixel will say, hey, all of the pixels have moved to data set, and then you will go under there. So all of these things, and then data set is all you have to do. And then you will go back to people, you will go to yourself, you will assign the assets, and then obviously you can invite anyone else that you want on your ad account. The best way to do that is to use the email that they used for creating their original Facebook profile, okay? Like the actual one, the first one that they ever made with no intention of doing marketing, probably the one where they have friend requests and stuff like that. That's the email that you're going to want to send it to, and then make sure you assign everything to them as well. Now, it is also important to note there are settings and then there are business settings. So this is a settings button. I'm in business settings right now though. So you're going to be in business settings in order to find all of this stuff. So if you clicked on settings and you're not seeing it, that is why. So that is those two sections. Otherwise, most of what you're going to do is going to take place in here. Now you might be wondering, some of you, I got a lot of ad accounts, but this one down here is going to be your ad account, like this one, this personal one at the bottom. That is your ad account for boosting posts, and you're not ever going to use that. But if you've boosted a post before, then you're going to see your boosted post within here. Now, if you haven't caught my other video, you should never boost a post under any circumstance. You're always going to get significantly worse results than what you would get in Ads Manager. So make sure you're not boosting posts. Also, make sure you're not creating ads in Meta Business Suite. That is the same thing as boosting a post. It has to take place in Ads Manager. And the best way to get to Ads Manager, because this is always a thing where people are like, wait, how do I get back there? You're just going to go up here and you're going to type in ads. And then all of a sudden, you're just going to press enter, and you're probably going to be right back here, okay? So just go up to the top. After you've been here before, you're just going to type in ads. Otherwise, adsmanager.facebook.com is the quickest way to get into this area. So now that you're in here, you're going to want to be in a business portfolio. So if you don't already have a business portfolio, make sure you create one. If you only see this your account section, you're going to want to create a business portfolio so that you can actually have all of the features, and then you're going to make an ad account within that business portfolio. So hopefully you guys aren't getting lost. I might have not delivered that in the exact step-by-step order, but I think a lot of you probably already did have a business account. Otherwise, that is something that you need. There's just a lot of functionality that comes with having an ad account owned by a business account. So just to quickly explain the structure of how all of your accounts relate to each other, you have your ad account, which is owned by your business portfolio, and then your business portfolio is owned by your original Facebook personal profile. Okay, so actually, like, your original personal profile is what owns your various business portfolios, which owns your various ad accounts. You should have one business portfolio per different business, which means that you're probably just going to have one ad account in most circumstances. It's pretty much always better to do it that way. You don't want to be like an agency business portfolio with a bunch of different ad accounts for all your different clients. You'd want a different business for every client. There's a lot of reasons, but one of them too is that if you ever get an account ban, that it's not going to affect the other clients or just the other businesses that you own, all right? You don't want to have them all get banned just because one does, even though bans are rare. Check my other video, though, on getting your account back if that ever does happen to you. Okay, so now let's understand the actual ad process, all right? So you're going to come in here and you're going to create a campaign, and then you are going to click a campaign objective. The reason why you don't ever want to boost a post is because boosting a post only gives you this option, and this option. And from top to bottom, this is basically the biggest variable that you have for selecting the quality of your audience. Sales is going to be the highest quality audience, and awareness is going to be essentially the lowest quality based on they don't buy things online. Even if they are a rich billionaire who never buys things online, like they'll probably be in this category. I mean, what billionaire doesn't like buy stuff actively, right? But they would be under this category if they are really not an online shopper. So awareness, it really is going to give you exactly what you ask it for. Reach, brand awareness, video views. And you might be thinking, oh, I want brand awareness. No, you don't. Only like Coca-Cola wants to run like brand awareness campaigns. They can be like, oh yeah, a polar bear drinking Coca-Cola. Like that's our ad. And they know that you know what it tastes like, where to buy it, and you can buy it everywhere. So like that's more who is running brand awareness campaigns. You are pretty much all going to run sales or leads, which means that's why you never want to do one of these. Even like the messaging thing is usually not good, people. Calls is not good from Facebook. That is good for Google ads, but running ads to call you is rarely a good idea. It like almost never works. I've tried it enough, even for the businesses that you would think this might be good. Running ads to directly call you without filling out a form first is not a good idea. Traffic, you're like, oh, link clicks. I'll get people over to my website. You'll get people to click on the link. You won't get them to buy though. So you're going to want sales or leads. All right. So let's go ahead and click on sales because that will still be most of you. And make sure if you want to go into a leads campaign, that is another video on my channel. I will try to link that below, but basically it is these two videos, Get Leads with Facebook Ads, full walkthrough, or the best Facebook ads course. This one's for product-based businesses. This one's leads, and that one we will actually make an ad campaign. So this one, I'm more just teaching you all of the buttons, but that would be like the next level to go with this training. So you're going to title the campaign off of whatever offer you are selling. We're going to say that this campaign is called T-shirts. You would maybe title it more specifically what kind of t-shirts that you have, but you're going to title it off of the offer that you are selling. And you can see here that you have the campaigns, ad sets, and ads all stacked appropriately within each other because that is their relationship to each other. So this view right here, I call the macroscopic view, campaigns, ad sets, and ads. Or when you are in the edit view, you can go between ad set, and the campaign accordingly. Now, the other thing to understand is this gray X button. A lot of people are scared to press this. You should see this button essentially as save. It's not just exit, it's basically a save button, even though it pretty much auto saves the entire way. The other thing that you're going to want to do is when you click on this gray X button, you will likely see something that says, oh wait, are you sure you want to publish your campaign? You're going to want to go to Don't Show Again and then close, because if you click Publish Campaign, you cannot stop it. It will get submitted for review, and if you are like halfway done with your campaign, it's probably not a good idea. So just so you don't accidentally publish your ads, make sure that when you're within the edit view, click on this gray X, go to Don't Show Again, and then close out so that you never see it again. So understanding campaign versus ad set and then the ad level. I'm going to quickly show you this of how this might look for certain businesses as far as how it would be named, because this is like the quickest way that I can explain the relationship between these things. So if you would have a t-shirt campaign, you would have that run to the United States 24 to 65, and then you would be using one of your influencer videos. That is how it would look. It would be like t-shirts is the campaign. Ad set is basically the audience, and then the ad level is where you put the actual creative and everything. And then if I were to click on Quick Duplicate, which just duplicates it within the current campaign, maybe this would say United Kingdom 24 to 65, and then, hey, that one still has the influencer video as well. But then maybe I duplicate here, and then this would be called graphic 1, and then it could look something like this, right? So I've got the ads within the ad set within the campaign, but then I also have this other ad set and those ads within that too. So that's the best quick explanation I can give you for the relationship between these three levels. But down here, the special ad categories is going to be only for these rare businesses. So most of you are just going to skip that step. Advantage catalog ads is a feature that creates ads using the products in your catalog. And your catalog is typically going to be like your Shopify store, right? It's going to be connected directly to your website, and it is going to create ads using the front image of all of your products. It's a good idea for retargeting ads. It's usually not a good idea for cold ads, and very few of you are going to want to do this. If you already have videos and images already made that you want to run, then turn that off, because this will just automatically create ads for you using the first image on all of your product pages. Campaign budget, I'm going to explain that. Yeah, I should be able to effectively explain it at this step. So when campaign budget is on and I have a daily budget of 40, what that would mean is you would be saying, hey, Facebook, this t-shirts campaign gets $40 a day. If you want to give 20 of it to United States or 20 of it to United Kingdom, you can. Otherwise, you can divvy it up however you want. So it might give 15 a day to United States and 25 to United Kingdom. It might give 35 a day to United States and 5 a day to United Kingdom, and it might switch it up all of the time. You are just saying, hey, you have $40. I don't care how much you give to each country. That is your choice. That is usually the best way to start off your campaign, because Facebook is pretty good at divvying up the budget appropriately. Otherwise, if you wanted to say, you know what, I want to make sure that US gets 25 every day and UK gets 15 every day, then you would turn this off, and then you would be setting the budget at the ad set level instead. So then I could say, all right, US gets 25 and then United Kingdom gets 15, okay? Which can also be seen at the macroscopic view here. So when ad set budget is on, I control it here and I can't see it here. And then when campaign budget is back on, I can see it at the campaign level instead, okay? So the next part of this, and budget, by the way, $20 to $30 per day per country to start is like a good starting area. But I've got another video that talks about budgeting as well, but I usually do say go lower budget. Definitely don't spend more than $100 a day at the beginning, and I would rarely tell you to exceed even 50 when you're just starting out. So this audience segment thing is another thing that you're going to want to use. By the way, just never use A/B test. All right, you are going to run tests, but their functionality is not a good way to do it. You're just going to manually set it up. Audience segments is it asks you what your engaged audiences and your existing customers are. If you have had your pixel on your site for a long time, you're going to go to website and you are going to say that, hey, I want all of my purchasers in the last 180 days, which is the most amount of time that you can do. And you're going to name the audience like that. And then you're going to pick your correct data set. Probots is my AI chatbot company. So I'm going to just say, all right, purchasers in the last 180 days is who my existing customers are. If you have not had your pixel set up for a long time, you can give Facebook a customer list instead via a CSV file. So if you have like thousands of customers, this is absolutely something that you want to do. Export your list as a CSV file, go to customer list, and then you're going to import it in here. And then through that, Facebook knowing who your existing customers are, they're going to be able to find you new customers a lot quicker. And then for engaged audience, I would say your website, assuming you've had the pixel for a while, and then you can just put that at like 180 as well. I would title this AWV 180 for all website visitors 180, and I would create that audience there so that it knows, hey, people who are aware of my business, it's just asking who would those people be. And I'm going to say people who have been to my website would be people who are genuinely aware of my business. So now we've kind of set those parameters and it can find your audience a lot quicker. All right. So those are the two ways that I would tell you to set that. Going to the ad set level, here's your choices here. By the way, I don't name the ad set at the beginning. I'm going to do all these settings first, and then I'm going to come back and name it. But I wanted to just quickly show you the relationship between campaign, ad set, and ads. So website and shop is it's going to automatically either send to your website or to your Facebook or Instagram shop when the person is likely to buy from there. What I will tell you in my experience, jewelry and clothing is great to do this with. Everything else that needs a little bit more education, a little bit more research, like if you're doing skincare and they're going to want to look up all the ingredients and look up like before and after photos and, deep dive a little bit more into your company, website is better for most businesses. Website and shop is only good for jewelry and apparel, which are basically the same thing, right? Otherwise, I have not seen this do better. App is if you have an app. Messaging, if you want them to send you a message, not a good idea. Calls, I've never seen to be a good idea. So you're probably going to be between one of those two. And then just make sure that you have your this is the best one, maximize the number of conversions. Make sure you have the correct data set picked out. Now, something I will tell you as an extra tip, a lot of you have accidentally made an extra pixel or an extra data set, and you cannot delete them. But what you'll want to do is in Events Manager is change the name of the pixel that you should not be using to just do not use, okay? Because since you can't delete it, you want to make sure that you never accidentally select it. So change the name of all the pixels that you're not using to do not use, and you don't need more than one pixel per business, okay? It doesn't matter if you're putting it on different websites, different landing pages. You only need one pixel per business. So make sure you put do not use on all of the other ones. And then conversion event, in this case, you would want to do purchase, all right? So you're never going to do add to cart or initiate checkout, by the way. There's no like hacking the algorithm like that. Do purchases if you're going for purchases. Otherwise, you're going to do leads, all right? Then what you're going to do, dynamic creative, just ignore it. It's been saying this for like over a year now, but flexible, I really don't like. It's not good. It does not show data properly. Just never use dynamic creative. If you see this warning, it's just going to make you use flexible. Never use flexible. It's been over a year and it is very buggy. It's not good. Don't use it. I promise you. Budget you can set at the end. Start date is always just going to be right now. End date you will never set, okay? If you set an end date, then once it hits the end date, your ad campaign will be complete and you won't be able to turn it back on and you will have to rebuild the entire thing. You will just manually toggle on and off the ad campaign when you want to, which you can do at all times with no repercussions, okay? For a lot of you too, like a budget saving tip is your ads are way more likely to convert during the day. So if you want to, at the beginning, if you're being really safe with your budget, if you want to turn them off at night and then back on in the morning, it's a pretty good idea. It usually is pretty beneficial. If you're going to be profitable no matter what, then sure, you're going to lose some sales turning it off, so you can keep it on in that case. But if you're really like close to break even or not really getting a lot of sales, turning it off at night and back on in the morning is a good idea. So down here for the audience options, basically Facebook is going to try to take away your control at every step of the way. So that's why I also don't recommend you talk to a meta marketing pro about your ad campaign, because they will try to reach out to you and help you set it up. And all they're going to do is tell you to use all of the recommended features, which just basically take away all of your control. So what I'm going to tell you to do is go to switch to original audience options, use original audience so that you have all of your control back, and you can set age, You can set the location. You can set gender. Language, if you're trying to run like English ads in Italy, yes, you should set this to English. Otherwise, if you're running ads in America or like the UK or Australia, where basically everyone already speaks it, it's actually better not to set the language, because there are a lot of people who have not set their language in their Facebook profile, and in that case, you don't want them to be excluded from your ads. So just leave it on all languages, unless you're running to an area that typically doesn't speak that language and you want to make sure that they do. Placements is where your ad will display. So Facebook, Instagram, Audience Network, Messenger. I've gone back and forth on this, so let me just kind of explain it to you. Facebook loves when you do what they recommend you to do. So they a lot of times do give you a discount when you do Advantage Plus placements. What I will say though is Audience Network rarely gets sales, and search results basically never get sales. So this is not a bad idea at all. If you just come in here and you turn off Audience Network and search results, those placements are very cheap to show ads, like fractions of a penny. So that's why it's not that big of a deal and why I haven't really cared about doing that. But they basically never get sales. So if you're trying to be really conservative with your budget, I would do this. I would turn off Audience Network and I would turn off search results. Otherwise, if you're like, oh yeah, these ads are going amazing, I just want to make sure we have the maximum reach and the maximum exposure to people, then that's where I would probably go Advantage Plus placements. So moving on to this step, you're going to want to make sure that you have your page selected properly. Make sure you turn on the preview over here too so you can see it. Advantage Plus catalog ads is that same thing that I talked about at the campaign level, where it makes ads using the existing images on your website, so you probably don't want to do that. And then you can choose to create an ad or use an existing post on your page. You're pretty much always going to want to create an ad, because then you can write a totally new original caption. You can write multiple caption variations. When you use existing post, you will have to select one of the posts that you've already done on your page. The advantage to that is, well, it's a little bit quicker to set up, but it will make you use the exact caption as it is on your page. And a lot of times when we do an organic post, we don't write that caption to a cold audience, we write it to a warm audience, right? So you're probably going to want to write a slightly different caption anyways. But the cool thing is that it takes the likes and comments that you already have and keeps it on your post. So if you did a post and you got a ton of comments on it from past customers that say, I love your product, I love this, that would be a time where I might say, I'm going to run this as an ad, because then I get to start that ad with all of those likes and comments already. Outside of that situation, don't do it though. Create an ad, because you're going to want to have the capabilities of running different caption tests and things like that. So you'll go in here, you will grab your image. I would just tell you, skip creative setup, okay? This is using site links where your ad has multiple links. This is a feature they took from Google Ads. I only recommend it for jewelry and apparel, okay? And in that case, you would be like, you would make a button for shirts. You'd make a button for pants. You'd make a button for whatever else is where it's actually a good idea. Otherwise, you don't want to give people option fatigue. So every other company outside of apparel, do not use site links, okay? You're just going to want to put nothing here or delete it if it is there, and you're going to go to media. I'm going to go ahead and just use one of my images from my free AI chatbot course, which is still available. If you go to socialbamboo.com, you can get my course to build a perfectly trained AI chatbot. What you will do here, off-click that, okay? Just off-check that, because what that would do is ignore everything that you do in this section. So just off-check that so that you can set what you want this to be. And it's just saying, hey, when we have a square placement, it's going to look like this. It's not showing me the 1x1 option because it already is 1x1. And then when it's saying, hey, when we're showing vertical placements like stories and reels, do you want it to be like this or do you want it to be like this? Obviously, this you can't even read. So in this case, you would do original, or if you wanted to create a 9:16 version of this ad, you could come in here and you could click on replace, and then you could make it so it shows the square version on the feed and it shows the vertical version on stories. That is a great way to optimize your campaign. I will say that it will give you about a 5 to a 10% boost in results, but if you're really just trying to test your different angles and you don't want to make all these different ads, you can absolutely find out if your ads are going to work or not. Like, this works. This really does work fine running a square image on stories. It just is a little bit more engaging when the post does take up the entire phone screen. So sometimes I will just make sure that the ads work, and then once it's working, I will come back in and then I will replace the vertical version. You can even do it on this side too, but otherwise this one I usually like to zoom in and then just show the title, because if all they see is free AI chatbot course, they understand why they should click the link. So I'm pretty much always fine with this version of it. And where this will show is when you log into facebook.com on desktop, it's at the top right section is where this placement will show. Rarely gets sales anyways, so that's why I'm cool with it just being, just the headline of the ad. Text, I always skip this part because I don't want to write the caption yet. You'll see why in a second. And then enhancements, this is very important. Overlays, I would tell you to always turn off because your ad should probably already have a headline in it. It doesn't look good when you actually are making an ad. You'll see what it does. You'll see the preview. Overlays is always off. Catalogs, leave it on for image ads. Leave it off for video ads because it makes your image ads taller. It makes your video shrink a ton. It's better to run a full screen video than a square video. So the catalog items will turn your vertical video into a very shrunken down video. So don't run catalog on video, but I recommend it on images. Visual touch-ups, turning this off is a lot safer to do. What this will do is it will take your square image and it will zoom in on it to make it a 4:5. And that is a good idea if you don't have text on your image. Then it's cool. You can expand my image for me. If you have text, it's just going to zoom in and you're not even going to be able to read the text anymore. So no text on, text off. Music off is definitely the safe way to go with this. If you want to go through all of the music and make sure that it matches up with your post, then you can leave it on. Otherwise, it's probably going to give you some really weird music. So you're going to want to make sure that if you have weird music with your post, it just kind of ruins the entire experience. So off is usually the way to go. Text improvements, always off. Image animation, you'll see a preview of what it would do for you. And if you like it, leave it on. It usually does a pretty good job. So I usually do image animation. Primary text is the caption as you know it. Headline and description only appear on Facebook. When you are creating the ad, here, let me just pro-bots.ai/trial is where you could get the free AI chatbot course and software for that. Let me put it doesn't show the preview until you have a link in here. So primary text is the caption. Headline only shows on Facebook. Description only shows on Facebook. Now, you're going to want to get my course, the 5 ROAS Playbook. It's free at socialbamboo.com if you would like to learn how to write these sections, okay? That is the only content that I have that actually teaches you how to write these 3 things is my 5 ROAS Playbook on socialbamboo.com. You do not essentially put a headline at the headline, and you essentially don't put a description at the description. So they are worded very stupidly. So make sure you get that course so you can learn how to do it. Then you're going to select the name of the button there. You can include promo codes, which I highly recommend if you are running a promo code. This will make the promo code auto apply at checkout, and it will make it more convenient for them. And then after that, that is all of the buttons that you need for setting up an ad. So check out the other videos. If you would like more in-depth tutorials, get that free course, book the free call below. If you're like, I don't want anything to do with this, I want Derek to do everything for me. Or if you want to walk through this on calls with me, we will do a series of 4 calls. We will create, publish, optimize, and automate your ads together. And by the end of it, you will know how to run your own Facebook ads for your company, because you and I will launch your first successful campaign together, and it's got a very high success rate. If you know your product sells, it's gonna work great. So book a free call to start and inquire about that below, and I'll see you in the next video.